morning, everybody, and welcome into the locker room with Billy Schweim, Pete Thompson on 97.3 ESPN. It's an Eagles Sunday, Eagles versus Chiefs, and the PT is in the house. What's up, Peter?
Hello, Billy Schweim. Did I do that correctly for you today?
Yes, you did. Perfect.
Mixed that the way it was supposed to be mixed.
What's going on, PT? You pumped up?
Yeah, I'm a little cantankerous again. I don't know why.
I came into the studio this
I
morning
was giving you the
at
business.
me,
Just
giving me all kind of orders, and yelling at me and making demands.
Well, the first thing I demanded was a raise. I don't mind sharing that with our audience. You know, I mean, if once again it's the Billy Schweim show, the locker room, I mean, I'm just the second banana. I'm Ed McMahon. If Johnny Carson is leaving his own show, then Ed should get a little more
Yes, I am going to the Eagles-Chiefs game. By the way, this will be the last game that I'm going to.
Right now, see, that would be facts that I would have liked to have known before I took my hard line stand and just rat-a-tatted you right when you came in.
So
I didn't realize this was the last one you were going to go to.
I only bought the first three. I can't afford these games, Pete. I mean,
it's interesting you bring that up because my father sold his tickets to this game. Right. He's got 4 seats, but he already gives 2 to my brother. Well, sells them to my brother anyway. In fact, of the 4 seats that he has, my brother pays for the personal seat license too. So, I mean, really, it's not just like I'm going to, like, you don't have to pay for a PSL. You just pay for the price of the ticket, right? And so you're very fortunate to do that. So my father says to me, hey, I sold my tickets to the Chiefs game. And I said to him, Dad, what the hell? Like, why didn't you sell them to me? Like, I'd love to go to that game.
Listen, back in the day, back in the 70s when the Eagles stunk, all right, when they were god awful, even like from 60, You
mean the first year that my family had season tickets, 1973?
Okay, but
Mike McCormack.
Yes, but I'm talking about when I was a kid. I remember going to Franklin Field. Okay, and the thing was, people used to go to games. The Eagles were so god awful from like the majority of the 60s and all of the 70s until Dick Vermeil came. People would just go to the games just to see the other team come in. Like I saw John Brody and Roger Staubach. And,
all right.
You know what I mean? Like, so
tell me about your seats at Franklin Field. They were bleacher seats,
seats, but we were on the underhang.
Splinter in your butt.
Yeah,
right.
I'll never forget as a little kid, the Dallas Cowboys came to town and we went to the game.
You weren't at the snowball game, were you?
No, my father, my brother Bobby, and I, and my dad, the 3 of us. Now, my dad doesn't know people in Hollywood or anything like that. He was never up on that stuff.
All right.
I'll never forget. We're sitting, and it was freezing cold. Okay. We're sitting on those bench seatings, right? No backs. and it was freezing cold, and there was this beautiful girl in a fur mink coat sitting behind us. And all of a sudden, all these people were passing like pens and pads for like hand it to the lady for the autograph.
All right.
And so we're giving the autograph back. We're trying to read it. We couldn't figure out who it was, right? We're looking. Come to find out, it was Lance Rensel's girlfriend, Joey Heatherton.
Oh, Joey Heatherton.
Remember the sort of perfect sleeper?
Wow, no kidding. All right. So she looked pretty good, huh?
She looked great, but I'll never forget that. But my point is,
that's funny.
We used to, when the Eagles were so bad, people used to go to the games just to see the other team.
Sure.
So this year, the first 3 games, I wanted the first game to be back to see. I want to see Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
I know you love Mahomes, man.
And return of Andy Reid.
Yeah.
And then I've got the Thursday night game against the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Tom Brady. Yeah. That's a little storyline tonight. By the way, great programming here on 97.3, right? Obviously. Us. Let's start with us. We're great programming. The official Birds pregame show follows us and all the folks up there at the head house and all that whatnot.
Are we the unofficial pregame show?
In my mind. Eagles, Chiefs.
And a lot of other people's minds too.
Hey now. Eagles, Chiefs. Then it's Seahawks and Niners. Seahawks at the Niners. That's an in-progress join. And then Sunday Night Football tonight, you're talking about Tom Brady.
Wow.
That's been that big storyline of Tom Brady going back to New England.
I'm excited for that game.
Yeah, now, let me ask you this. Are you teaching tomorrow?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. So what time have you been getting up?
I have to be at school at 7:30.
Okay, so you'll be getting up when I get up, about 5 in the morning. Now,
no, I set my alarm for 6:40.
Must be nice.
But I'm in the same. I teach. It's
a 5-minute drive.
Yeah,
right.
Even.
I do like the fact that people used to say to me, "Why do you get up at 5 o'clock if you don't have to be there till 7:30?" Same time for me, 7:30. And I simply just looked them right in the eye and say, because I was getting up at 5:30 and I was always late. So therefore, shave a half hour off. I got a whole routine.
I pop up like toast.
Got a whole routine.
Showered and out of the.
Nope, got a whole routine. Got a whole thing I got to do, including, like you, read the whole damn newspaper. I still read the newspaper in the morning.
Do you drink coffee, Pete?
I do not drink coffee.
So you don't get up, read the paper, drink your coffee?
No, I get up. I have a protein shake and a banana, read the paper, and then start to, get my stuff done.
Pete, let's reflect a little bit before we get to Scotty Grayson on the other side.
Do we have to reflect?
Well, yeah. To go forward, you got to look backwards a little bit. Now,
on the Cowboys game that I couldn't have been more wrong. I said 27-24 was what my prediction was. I thought Jake Elliott was going to kick a field goal to win the game, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I mean,
great look. Grayson had 33-30 Eagles.
Yeah.
I had the Cowboys 24-21, so I got the Eagles.
You at least had the right team winning.
Right score in the Eagles.
Gill actually came pretty close, I think. I don't remember his numbers, but I know that he had the Cowboys winning, and he had them winning by more than 10 points.
Scott McKay, out of our crew, Scott McKay was the closest.
Oh, by the way, speaking of our crew, because you're in love with Pat Mahomes and all that.
Yeah.
How you doing in our 97.3 fantasy football?
I think I'm 0-2, or 1-2.
Oh, you're 1-2. You do have a win?
I think I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know who's leading the league?
Is it you?
That is correct.
Actually, I think I'm 0-3.
Like last week when we went over to see Joe Pop at Randazzo's.
Yeah.
I was in the car. You're sitting right there with me, right? Because I was in your fine automobile. Oh, my God. That's another story. But anyhow, where the Northfield police might be listening, I won't talk. But, yeah, I'm in your car, and I get this alert on my phone. It says T. Higgins is out or something for Cincinnati. And I look at the time, and it's 1:03. And I was like, son of a bee, because I couldn't. It was too late to make a change. And I was so mad at myself because that's the kind of thing you open the door. Like, you work in radio, you work in the media. If you don't make a lineup change or a switch, you're a moron. You're a dummy, right? Which is exactly what you were. But then you got your guy switched. My point of this is I'm 3-0 despite having a guy that didn't play.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Incredible.
Who's that? Me?
Is that what you have?
Oh, that's the name of my team. Yeah.
You're Mr. Incredible?
Well, yeah. You've never seen that picture? You never seen that side by side? When Gill and I played in the ShopRite LPGA Classic a couple of years ago, we played. You're dying laughing at this. We played in the ShopRite LPGA Classic a couple of years ago, and the girl that was our pro was from like Colombia or Argentina or something like that. And she said something about, oh my God, she says, she peeled the thing off her banana. Okay, there, if you're watching in the StreamYard.
Twitter.
She peeled the
Twitter
thing.
and YouTube, you got to put it up there.
She pulled the thing off the banana and was like, holy cow, that's you. And the reason it's so funny is gigantic head, gigantic belly, and then tiny little legs, like in the cartoon. Remember where he's doing this move where he's trying to like hitch the belt and put the suit back on? That's absolutely
Pete, that's priceless. Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, that's me.
All right.
Yeah.
Pete, real quick, I went over the film I watched the Eagles game in its entirety 3 times, and I kept going back and forth like watching film.
Okay, right? Were you watching the all 11 or were you watching it?
I keyed on several players. The problem with the Eagles defense is their linebackers. They were getting what the Cowboys did was they double teamed at the point of attack.
Now, wait a second, real quick. Did Eli Manning and Peyton tell you this? Because that's what I went back and watched.
No, I didn't even watch that.
When I watched the game, but then I DVR'd the Eli and Peyton thing, and I'm slowly making my way through that.
I should do that.
And I haven't gotten to the point where Chris Long goads Eli into giving double birds on national TV. Did you know that Eli did that?
No, I did not see that.
I mean, that's something right out of the Billy Schweim playbook, that you would do it, and then you'd be like, coming back from break, I need to apologize. Apparently, you can't give the bird on TV.
But anyway, I didn't see that, so this is my own observations. I played football in college. I was a quarterback. We went over a lot of film, so I had to break it down almost like Baldy-esque. Baldy's breakdowns.
All right. We're going to call you Billy Light. Yes.
And I'm telling you, the Eagles defensive line got manhandled, but the problem was that the Cowboys did a great job at the point of attack, double teaming our tackles, and then they line up that Connor McGovern, that number 66, and they just destroy Singleton and Eric Wilson got abused. TJ Edwards not much better. The linebackers can't fill gaps, and they can't cover the tight ends and the receivers out of the backfield.
And when do you think that's going to change? When the Eagles actually take priority on a linebacker?
They're going to have to put priority in defense. They got a lot of.
They had a chance to draft a linebacker. He played against him and blew him up. His name's Micah Parsons. They didn't want any part of him. So the Cowboys knew it. That's why they were okay with that happening.
And what's going to happen, Pete, is teams are going to obviously watch film and see
the roadmap has been
That's right. The
built.
roadmap is put out there now.
Let me just say this. I honestly think that the Eagles could be 1-6 going into the Detroit game. If you look at the schedule, I honestly think that, Casey Joyner's always on with Gill, and he uses that phrase, path to victory. Right. I do not see a path to victory for the Philadelphia Eagles in a game until Detroit. Okay. And even then, I'm being optimistic. Did you see my
tweet the other day, on any given Sunday?
I love that you think I actually care about your Twitter account. I don't read your Twitter.
I read your By the way, you better be nice. Michael Pileggi is saying you're
too mean.
He's critiquing things that you say about me.
Okay, well, sorry, Michael,
he's a great actor.
It's all shtick and it's all done out of love. I actually do read Billy's tweets. How can I not? He tweets it and then 2 seconds later sends me a text. Did you see my tweet?
All right, the first hour of the locker room is powered by Surety Title. Surety provides comprehensive title insurance protection and professional settlement services for home buyers and sellers, brokers, lenders, builders, developers, all attorneys. Surety is an industry-wide leader with a team of experts that help you through the entire process, from contract signing to closing, for the shortest center city and every place in between. Surety Title is there for you. With 15 office locations in New Jersey, PA, that's Surety Title. For more information, call our good friend Ron Conklin at 856-988-8900. Hey, my winter watchdog. Have you heard of New Jersey's premier vacant home management service, My Winter Watchdog? You know those worrisome thoughts that creep into your mind every time you hear of a storm coming, and the daunting task of driving down to the shore to check on the house, hours of time on the road. Let My Winter Watchdog be your eyes and ears with their 15-point inspection checklist. They offer a full menu of maintenance and improvement services. Owner Debbie McGonigal and her team of property caretakers are professional, licensed, bonded, and insured. So don't let the winter worry you. They'll give your house that lived-in look. That's My Winter Watchdog. Go to mywinterwatchdog.com or give them a call at 267-202-1869. That's 267-202-1869, or shoot Debbie an email, Debbie@mywinterwatchdog.com. I want to remind people, the locker room at Blitz's Market want to discount your Eagles game day meal. During the Eagles season, on game day, get an Italian hoagie for just $5, and they stack it with meat. When you mention the locker rooms, get down to Blitz's all season long at 21st and Asbury Avenue in Ocean City. Blitz's now has online ordering at blitzesmarkets.com, or give them a call at 609-399-9983. Blitz's is home of the dill pickle hoagie. It's really a big deal. All right, so when we return, we'll talk with Scott Grayson. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app. All right, we're back here in the locker room. Billy Schweim, Pete Thompson, every Sunday morning on our Eagles pregame show. We started off with Scott Grayson, 97.3 ESPN.com, Fox 29 Sports Anchor. He's the man in the know for the latest Eagles news and updates. Let's go to the Barb's Hartley Davidson Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room the man himself, Scott Grayson. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, guys. How you doing today?
Eagles Sunday. Listen, I'm still pumped up. I even got my Go Birds shirt on. You can see that there on Twitter and YouTube.
Or listen, wherever we are.
Wherever we are. Scott, as bad as the Eagles played last week, I saw some positive things. Believe it or not, I watched the film several times, like Baldy's breakdowns or Schweiner's breakdowns. I went back and forth. There's some keys. Look, they got waxed, and it was an embarrassment. But I think they can build off this. If they can learn from those mistakes, I think they can come out. You know, you got to take a couple steps backwards to take a step forward.
Well, that's what today is about. You're right. It's about showing us that they can take that step forward as a coaching staff, and that Jalen Hurts as a young quarterback can take that step forward too. They're not going to be perfect every week. They weren't last week. They weren't even close. There were a lot of flaws from the coaches all the way down. Therefore, there's a lot that can be cleaned up this week and needs to be. And that's the biggest thing, and that's the theme of today in my mind. And you look at the Chiefs, you say, wow, here's come the Chiefs. Well, the Chiefs have their own flaws and their own problems as well, including guys they're missing. There's opportunities to take advantage of some things today. And you got a team that's coming in here, quite frankly, my fear is you've got an angry Chiefs coming in. But if you get a frustrated Chiefs team that's coming in, then you have an opportunity to maybe jump on them a little bit and try to control a little bit more of the tempo of this game. They never did last week. It crushed them. Nick Sirianni played like he was down by 30 at kickoff of the first half, and that's not the way to play a game. And so, yeah, you're right, Billy. There's steps that can be taken forward today, and there's a lot of big ones that, in my mind, need to be taken forward, or else I think we're going to start seeing the writing on the wall for this being a really long season.
And, you know, you look at – I've got the team stats, team offenses. The Chiefs are like giving up 31 points a game in their first 3 games. They've got some holes on defense. And the Eagles, I mean, the Eagles offenses, they're like number 16, so they're middle of the road. They're putting averaging 21 points on any given Sunday, Scott. You know what? I mean, that's how it is in the NFL. There's no easy week. I get it.
I hope that during the week, though, somebody got a hold of Nick Sirianni and made sure he understood that it is okay to run the ball in the NFL. There's no rule against it. I mean, that was awful
last week. 3.
Yeah, that's painful. And you know, the other thing, really, quite frankly, today, I mean, you can't do anything when you've got so many penalties coming on the ground against you. Both sides of the ball. The offense has killed themselves with the penalties. The defense has helped the opponent's offense out with stupid penalties at bad times. Derek Barnett, one of the biggest culprits of that. And it's got to change. If it does not change, this team's going to continue to find themselves in holes and be behind. And there's no way to try to win a game when you keep committing penalties. And, you know, and they're unfortunately now 3 weeks in. These officials aren't stupid. They look at the trends. They look at these reports on the teams they're officiating, and they're going to see this team's committed X amount of holding penalties. They're constantly offsides. Watch the late hits and the personal fouls. And that's where Derek Barnett is getting the eye of these officials now at this point. I'm sorry, that's your reputation, and they're going to be watching you for it. So you do one little thing, and it's going to get flagged. And that's one of the things that has to change this week.
We're talking with Scott Grayson, 97.3 ESPN.com. You can catch him on Mondays on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill for Grayson's Grades. Of course, watch Sports Sunday, Fox 29 Sports Anchor. I said to Pete prior to you coming on, what the Dallas Cowboys exploited last week was the fact that our defensive ends, Barnett and Josh Sweat, would take an outside rush, and then what they do, they double the tackles, and they put that Connor McGovern up, and he just cleaned out Singleton. I thought Singleton and Eric Wilson and TJ Edwards, I thought they stunk, flat out stunk. They couldn't fill the holes, and they couldn't cover receivers out of the backfield.
Well, the first half against Atlanta was similar. I mean, the linebackers were not filling the holes there, and I think that's what, you know, unfortunately, you get 3 weeks of film in now, and that's what teams are seeing. They're seeing that, like you said, if you find a way to get through that front line of the Eagles, the linebackers are not something you really have to worry about right now. So I don't know if they have to change their scheme up a little bit. Now, you know, and I'm not saying that he is an all-pro player perhaps, and I'm definitely not a Hall of Famer, but don't underestimate the importance of getting a Rodney McLeod back.
Yeah.
And maybe they're going to ask him to come up and help a little bit with some of that. That's where they missed Malcolm Jenkins, frankly. He played like a linebacker, and he would come up and help you in those spots, fill those holes, make those plays. But they're not, they're not tackling well. They're not filling the holes. They're not making plays, quite frankly. And at this point, this team needs to make plays, and they've got to win first down. Last week was awful on first down. Dallas was constantly in second and short, third and short, and they were constantly moving the ball down the field. The Eagles have to win first down today. Every now and then, if they want to have any attempt at getting off the field on defense. And quite frankly, unfortunately, this is one of those weeks where, look, if you can hold the Chiefs to a field goal instead of a touchdown, it's actually not a bad possession.
Scott Grayson with us. Scott, now then with 3 games under their belts and Kansas City coming in, and you might have heard me as you were coming on talking about paths to victory and that conceivably in my mind, this team could be 1-6 going into the Detroit game. They're that bad. Then I start asking the questions, and I've been wanting to have you on to ask you then, but coaching and how much of an aspect is that a problem right now? Because here's Billy asking about the defense and the linebackers getting beat, but is Jonathan Gannon overmatched? Coaching, they don't run the ball except for 3 times by the running backs. Now Hurts ran sometimes because he had to, but how much is Nick Sirianni in over his head? And so how much do you lay the 1-2 record at the feet of the coaches, and how much do you put at the feet of just not having enough talent?
Well, I put some of it at the players, but at the coaches at this point now, 3 weeks in, it's amazing how much this game is going to tell us how things could go, right? 1-3 or 2-2. It's a big difference. And, win this game here at home and put yourselves at 2-2. I felt like if this team wanted a chance at winning the division, they needed to be 2-2 through the first 4. And I thought winning the Cowboy game was going to be where that second win came in. Obviously, I was way wrong, and today's task feels like a big one. However, this is a potentially winnable game if you do some of the things right that you've really failed at lately. And that's where you need to see the adjustments. Look at Atlanta, and you asked about the coaching staff, Pete. They had all offseason to game plan for Atlanta. Yeah. Well, okay, that's fine. They had the luxury of time. They won. Now you're in the week-to-week league of the NFL. There's not much time to game plan here. You got to have next week's plan already started to be worked on this week. And, are we going to see any of that? Are we going to see any of those adjustments from this team? They didn't motion much last week, and they obviously didn't run the ball. Are we going to see overcorrection Sunday here where they do a lot of that now, and it's overkill? Or are you going to see a coach and a coaching staff that self-scouted themselves to say, yeah, this is a problem? And the penalties, to me, I'm putting now on the coaches. There's no accountability. There has been no discipline on any of those guys. I mean, I'm sorry, but if Derek Barnett's going to continue to make these plays, you got to keep him on the sideline.
Right.
And Lane Johnson,
whoever it is,
multiple holding penalties last week. And I'm not saying take Lane out of the game, but to a certain extent, that's where I'm holding accountability on the players. And the captains on this team need to grab the rest of the team around the neck and say, enough, we're killing ourselves with this. And the coaches need to also have the wherewithal during the week, if they see penalties committed in practice, to do something about it. It's killing them. I've said that, and I'm putting it on the coaches now at this point. This is a big week for the coaches to show me they know how to make adjustments. They know how to correct things that are wrong and to come out and try to turn this team around. This is a big week. Make no mistake about it. I'm not putting the must-win tag on it, but it's pretty close to it, and these coaches and the veteran players need to step up.
We're talking with Scott Grayson, Fox 29 News, Sports Anchor, 97.3 ESPN.com. Scotty, there was a couple plays that I thought were pivotal. Offense. I looked at the play. I focused in on Dillard. I thought he played well. I didn't think he played poorly. Landon Dickerson. That's another story. But the injuries on the offensive line are starting to pile up again. So these guys are going to have to find a way to fight through that. But when Jalen Hurts missed, I think it was Zach Ertz in the first half. It was 21-7. He missed Zach Ertz, and that very next play, he throws that interception. That was a pivotal point of the game, because if he would have hit that tight end, I think it was Ertz, he missed, or it was Goddard. He overthrew him. He just missed it. If he would have hit that play, he could have taken that ball down to the 10-yard line. We could have been 21-14. It would have changed the whole complexion of the game. So my point is, if they can just limit those mistakes on offense, they can stay with the Chiefs. The Chiefs can't stop anybody on the run.
That's just it. There's going to be opportunities here, and that's where I think offensively, especially, the penalties are going to be a key to avoid, because this team can move the ball down the field against the Chiefs. I totally agree with you. But if they start putting themselves in 1st and 15, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20 because of holding penalties or jumping off sides, and that's a concern. You mentioned the injuries to the offensive line. Now you got Sayamalu out as well. This was one place they did not have a lot of depth, and now they're having to tap into that lack of depth. So who's going to step up on that offensive line as one of these young players and make a play? The other thing I don't understand, you're right. Well, let me get to this first. You mentioned the Goddard play. That was a game-changing play.
Yeah.
Trust me, Hurts saw it in film a ton. He knew it in the game at the time. It has been wearing on him, and I'm sure he's angry about not hitting that. So let's see how he recovers from that, and does he, if he gets an opportunity like that again today, make the play. Outside of that, this offensive line, that's why I don't understand. Offensive linemen will tell you it is easier to run block than it is to pass block. So if you started having inexperienced offensive linemen, this is where I'm picking on the coaches again, why were you throwing the ball so many times and asking these young, inexperienced guys to drop back into pass blocking situations when the defense knows they're passing almost every down? Run the ball, let your offensive line dictate some of the line of scrimmage, and then make it easier to pass, off of that. And so, again, you're going to have 3 non-starting offensive linemen from week 1 here in this game. How will they call to make the game, to make it better and easier for those 3 guys to have success? It's so hard for an offensive line to work together when they haven't practiced together much. And this unit will not have had more than this week of practice together. So this is a problem. It's an interesting thing to watch as to how the coaches work through that. But you're right. If the plays are there, Hurts has to make them. And he's got to try to keep his eyes down the field a little longer this week. I don't blame him. When you're worried about getting killed, and it was a constant last year, all the pressure that was constantly in his face, he stopped looking down the field. Hurts needs to not fall into that trap again this year that Wentz did last year.
No doubt. Scott Grayson with us. Hey, there's one sequence I wanted to ask about from the Cowboys game, because Billy was talking earlier about watching the game 2 times, 3 times. I know you watch the game over and over. You probably go back and watch the all 11 as well to try and see it from a different angle, not just what they show on the broadcast. There was a sequence in the Cowboys game where Gannon only rushed 3, and yet they still gave up the touchdown. Like, they'd stopped the Cowboys in first down. They stopped them on second down. It looked like they were going to hold them to a field goal, and they had absolutely 0 pass rush, dropped everybody back, and yet Darius Slay went over and got a hot dog or something during the play. Like, what the hell is he doing? I just was so baffled at that concept, and I wanted to know if that, was another time where you maybe thought, I'm not sure this is Jonathan Gannon's dialing up the right things at the right time. I thought they were soft, too. Let me just add that. I thought that, I went back and started to watch the Eli Payton thing, and Eli's sitting there going, God, they're so far off the ball. You got to jam that receiver. You got to give him a little pop, do something.
Like Diggs was doing to Devontae Smith.
Yeah, you got to try to reroute the receiver a little bit and get that timing off, because that's all they were doing was picking on timing. And Pete, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that they were soft. I think the entire team last week, and I don't know how much you can put on Gannon in this regard, the whole team seemed soft. I didn't even know if they all made the trip. It seemed like they were still on the plane. There was no competitive fire in that game very early on from the Eagles, and I don't know why that was. Was it poor coaching in the week leading up to it? Was it poor leadership from the veterans on the team? But when they let the Cowboys go down the field and score that opening touchdown, it really put them in a bad spot. Slay, Nelson, they were all, I thought they were not playing well. And then the safeties have been a problem. I mean, Epps and Kayvon Wallace haven't. That's why I want to see how much of a factor it makes today that Rodney McLeod is back there on that back line. What does it do for Nelson and Slay to maybe know they've got a little bit better control back there to help them if somebody gets over top of them? We'll see.
All right. So before we get your pick, I want to get your take on they focused in on Nick Sirianni after Barnett made a penalty. Goes, it's always him. And Scott, I'm sure he's been made. Derek Barnett's been made aware and probably even seen it. Do you think that might have an effect, positive or negative?
Well, I mean, if anybody has kids out there, you kind of know if somebody's continuing to be a problem, you have to do something, or, the definition of insanity. if expecting different results by doing the same thing over and over again. Well, by leaving Derek Barnett in there and not correcting him in any way, you're enabling him to just keep doing the same thing. That's why I want to see Derek Barnett's snap count dropped significantly. I want him to understand you're not going to keep going out on the field if you continue to do stupid stuff and hurting this team as badly as you have in some key moments of games. But I don't know if they'll do that. They don't necessarily have the depth to be able to afford to let him sit on the sideline for that long. But I would do it. And Sirianni caught it. You know what? Don't shake your head and say it's always him if you're not going to do something about it. So do something about it.
All right, Scotty Grayson, it's that time for your pick.
I have not done well lately. So I and I thought about that as that game was going on. I was like, wow, I did not see this game going that way at all. Yeah, thank you for reminding me.
Me too. I said 27-24. I was wrong too.
So this week, I do think there's going to be points. I've got to believe the Eagles are going to bounce back in some way. I don't think they're going to win the game, but I do expect this to be more of a competitive game. I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win 30-24.
30-24. I think that's that's close to what I have.
My God, that's a game that I would actually watch.
All right, Scotty.
That's a pretty good score.
I wanted to turn the game off last week at halftime, but
hey, listen, I'm on my way. Pete's going to take over the second half of the show.
Hopefully.
I'm heading up to the game. I'm pumped up. I got my Go Birds shirt on. And Scott, as always, we really appreciate it. We look forward to Grayson's grades tomorrow with Mike Gill on the Sports Bash. But thanks a lot, Scotty. We'll see you next week.
You got it. Hey, while you're there, tell Nick run the ball, please. Get Miles Sanders touches.
Absolutely. We'll deliver that message.
There
See you, buddy.
Scott Grayson on the Barb's Harley Davidson Sports Hotline. I want to remind people the first hour of the locker room is powered by Surety Title. Surety provides comprehensive title insurance protection and professional settlement services for home buyers, sellers, real estate agents, brokers, lenders, home builders, developers, and attorneys to facilitate your real estate purchases. Surety is an industry-wide leader with a team of experts that will help you through the entire process, from contract signing to closing of the shortest center city and every place in between. Surety Title is there for you. 15 office locations in New Jersey and PA. That's Surety Title. For more information, call my good friend Ron Conklin at 856-988-8900. I want to welcome back Maserati, the main line. They're going to stay with us. They're great people down there. Michael Pileggi. You got to go visit those cars. I sat in a Maserati, put me in a couple different cars, and I'm telling you, it's like ride on air. Friends, let me tell you about Maserati, the main line, located just minutes from downtown Philadelphia. They offer a client-focused car buying experience designed to exceed all expectations and invite you to stop and see the area's largest selection of new Maseratis, including the sporty Ghibli midsize sedan or the class-leading Levante, the only SUV worthy of being called a Maserati. Maserati, the main line, also leads the nation in certified pre-owned sales and has the highest quality like new Maseratis available on the market. Your experience is not in at the point of a sale, as Maserati, the main line, offers free pickup and delivery for scheduled service appointments and provides a new Maserati loaner car. So be audacious. Call my good friend Michael Pileggi at Maserati, the main line, today at 484-804-4800. That's 484-804-4800, or visit them online anytime at motml.com. All right, when we return, we'll continue with more here in the Eagles pregame show. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim, Pete Thompson on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app. We're back here in the locker room with Billy Schweim, Pete Thompson, 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app. Hey, the locker room Blitz's Market want to discount your Eagles game day meal during the Eagles season. On game day, get an Italian hoagie for just $5 when you mention the locker room. Get down to Blitz's all season long at 21st at Asbury Avenue in Ocean City. Blitz's now has online ordering at blitzesmarkets.com or give them a call at 609-399-9983. Blitz's home and a dill pickle hoagie. It's really a big deal. PT, you got a question up. Our Sunday question is, what aspect of the Chiefs versus Eagles matchup will you be watching most today and why? You can send us a tweet at LockerRoom973 or at the PT973, or you can shoot us a text at 609-403-0973 is the text board, 609-403-0973, or you want to send us a message on the StreamYard, you can do that. What aspect of the Chiefs-Eagles matchup will you be watching most today and why? I'm going to be watching the linebacker play.
Yeah, you've been talking about these linebackers ad nauseum, so obviously you're going to be keying in on that.
I'm telling you, and look, I like the signing of Eric Wilson from Minnesota last year. He led the league in tackles. Mm-hmm. And he comes in this year, and he's getting blown off the ball. He can't shed a block. And Singleton, I'm sorry. I like the guy's spirit, but he's just not good enough. He's a CFL football player.
Nice guy, nice story.
Yeah,
had that touchdown against San Francisco.
Like he wouldn't start on any other team.
Good in the community, a good person, but that doesn't get you wins. In the National
and Derek
football.
Barnett, like Scott Grayson pointed out, Pete, you got to sit his rear end down.
You can say it.
I know, but you got to sit his butt down. If he's going to hurt the team and be detrimental to the outcome.
Which he is hurting the team. That was such a key penalty right there. I'm going to be looking at the aspect I'm going to be looking at the most is how they basically establish the run. Do they recognize their shortcomings from last week and the fact that the running back position only had 3 runs? I mean, I distinctly remember only sending out a few tweets during the Cowboys game, but one of them was right after Miles Sanders had gained 24 yards on his run. One of his 2 carries, he gets 24 yards, and then they went right away from it again. And I thought, come on, that you just had a positive yardage play. Why are you not running the football? I mean, Miles Sanders has the NFL's 3rd best average yards per rush, 4.9 since his rookie season. You've got the weapon. Use it. It's not that hard.
Another thing about one thing I noticed also about Derek Barnett, did you notice on Monday night how many times he ran on the field late and how many times he had to run off the field late because he didn't know where to be? What is the reason for him running onto the field late? They were on the goal line. He comes running in, and he just got set before the ball was snapped.
Well,
is that a coaching problem, or is that him just not being in the right spot at the right time?
So many of those things that have to do with packages and whether you're on and whether you're not. But to me, that's a discipline issue. That's a big discipline issue. Gill's handed me some breaking news, which I'm a big fan of. Derek Gunn is tweeting that Driscoll is going to start at right guard and Dickerson at left guard.
Wow.
So there you go. That is big news because once again, the offensive line, what was it? 2/5 of it was out last week or 3/5. I mean, 3/5 of it. Yeah, I knew I screwed up fractions in math.
Here's the thing.
That's big news right there.
Landon Dickerson to play a position. I mean, let's face it, he's a center.
Yeah,
he's a center.
That's what he was drafted for.
That's what he's drafted for.
But more importantly, I don't care what position he is. He's a rookie. that when it feels like deja vu all over again. When we had no idea who Herbig was or Driscoll, and all of a sudden these guys were coming in games last year, and the Eagles' offensive line was getting blown up, and Carson Wentz was running for his life, and everything went really bad, really fast.
So
right?
The first half of last week's game, it tells the tale of the story. Eagles had 18 plays. Dallas had 41 plays. Total yards, we had 95 in the first half. They had 262. Time of possession in the first half, 7:55 to 20:10, and first downs 3-19. That disparity, they've got to improve their first hit coming out right off the bat, establishing the run, like you said, Pete, and slow the game down. You got to keep the Chiefs offense off the field.
I mean, I feel like it's the old at the college level, the high school level, when you look at big matchups and you say, we're going to face a high-powered offense, what are the questions you always ask leading in? Can you get long, sustained drives? And that's literally the one way. And I know you're the world's biggest Mahomes fan, right? How do you keep Mahomes from killing you? You don't let him come onto the field. You chew out a 12 to 14 play drive, and the only way that you do that is by running the football.
All right, the first hour of the locker room is powered by Surety Title. Surety provides comprehensive title insurance protection and professional settlement services for home buyers, sellers, real estate agents, brokers, lenders, home builders, developers, and attorneys to facilitate your real estate purchases. From the shore to center city and every place in between, Surety Title is there for you. Please call our good friend Ron Conklin for more information at 856-988-8900. Just about everybody in our areas heard about the Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine run by ex-Philadelphia tight end Ken Dunnick. But were you aware of the private business network they call the Legacy Club? Every month they hold private events at upscale locations in Philadelphia, South Jersey to attract over 200 top business people. If you have an interest in attending one of these events and see it's a fit for your business, send an email to ken@jerseymanmagazine.com or give them a call at 856-912-4007 for more information. Don't forget to get down to Blitz's Market. You get a $5 Italian hoagie when you mention the locker room on Eagles game day. We'll be right back. We'll continue more here with the Eagles pregame show with Pete Thompson, Billy Schweim in the locker room on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app. All right, we're back here in the locker room with Billy Schweim, Pete Thompson, 97.3 ESPN, Eagles, Chiefs. I'm heading out right after we get right after the break here. I'm heading to the game. PT's taking over.
Yep.
You got it, Pete?
Sure.
I got it. Incredible. That is hysterical. I love it.
So we're getting some text messages including one from Dan in EHT who says, the talent disparity was so telling in that Eagles-Cowboys game. The Cowboys were so much faster. I've been an Eagles fan for 40-plus years, and this is the earliest in a season that I've seen no optimism. Thank you, Dan. That's a good text right there, 609-403-0973. I'm watching our safeties now that McLeod is back, watching for over-the-top coverage. Are they covering Kelsey, or are they coming up to help stop the run? That's a 484 prefix. Give us your name and where you're texting from, too, by the way, when you text it on the text message board. And on the StreamYard, there was a couple messages, Billy, that came in. Eagles win, Cowboys lose, the world will be right again, says 76ers champs. Go Birds, baby, Big D. And then, just for fun, 76ers champs threw in trade Ben Simmons for Beal or Donovan Mitchell, which is also hilarious. I said
I'm getting photobombed.
Yeah, as you should. I wrote back and said I'd love an Eagles win, and I would trade Simmons for a bag of basketballs. Hurts has got to learn how to hit the slant. That's all that Smith runs his routes. Okay, Bob C., we hear you on the StreamYard. That's our Sunday question. What aspect of the Chiefs and Eagles matchup will you be watching this the most today, and why? And you can tweet at LockerRoom973 or at the PT973. We'll read off your answers. Or if you don't even want to take the time to do the tweet, you can text 609-403-0973.
So PT, on the way up, we're gonna talk on the phone as I'm on the way up to the
good Lord willing. I mean, if I can make Alexander Graham Bell work this week, I don't know.
I'll give you my prediction on the road as I head up to the game. I'm excited for this game. I want to see the Chiefs. I want to see Patrick Mahomes. The Eagles are 4-4 all time against the Chiefs.
Who are you going with, by the way? Who's sitting in another
Billy
seat? Okay. And are you scooping him up along the way?
Yes, I will be picking him up on the way. He'll be right off the highway. I don't have to get off too much, and then I'll pick him up. We'll continue on. The Chiefs and the Eagles.
You hear that, New Jersey State Patrol?
Would you stop it? I follow the rules.
Sure. I'm just trying to give a description of the car so they can.
It's a green Hyundai.
Yeah, sure. Green Honda CRV is what you're trying to say. That's my car. Hey, Gill and I once got a ticket on the way to the Flyers game when they were playing that outdoor game. I'm sorry, we didn't get the ticket, but the PT used to drive in news vans. I had the hammer down, right? I mean, we were going, and this guy pulls us over and he says, "License registration." I said, "Yeah," and he says, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, we're from the radio station. I had to pick him up at the Farley, and now we're going up to the Flyers outdoor game." And he says, "Flyers outdoor game, radio station." Wait, wow. So he starts asking a bunch of questions, and he was very nice. He gave us a warning, even though the PT was flying.
All right, PT is going to take it from the rest of the show from here. We got the fantasy football guru, Brian Hartley, on the other side. I'll be talking to you on the road. Let's go, Eagles. I'll give you my prediction, but I'm looking forward to a enthusiastic crowd. I just don't want to see a lot of Chiefs jerseys like I saw the 49ers last time.
I bet you will.
It was horrible. All right, PT, as always, I appreciate it. I'll give you your extra money,
extra scratch
extra pay for
thanks
for doing the.
I thought I negotiated a hard deal. Didn't even let you sit down. You walked in. I'm like, pay me.
I'll see everybody next week. Stay tuned for more of the Locker Room with Pete Thompson.
And welcome to hour number 2 here in the locker room on 97.3 ESPN. I am not Billy Schweim. I am Pete Thompson. As once again, Billy conveniently tells me the day before, by the way, I'm going to the game tomorrow. XO's got the con. If you've ever been on a submarine, Billy's the captain of this ship, and he left the boat. That's fine. I understand. He loves Mahomes. He wants to go up there and watch the annihilation. Who knows what's going to happen? We'd like to know from you what's going to happen. 609-403-0973 if you want to text in. 609-403-0973. Our Sunday question is, what aspect of the Chiefs versus Eagles matchup will you be watching the most today and why? Tweet at the locker room 973 or at the PT, and we'll read off those answers, or you can just text us as well. Also in this hour, Brian Hartley, our fantasy guru. In a few minutes from now, he's brought to you by Stell Exteriors. He'll join in and let you know it's 11 o'clock, so pretty soon, 11:30, I guess, is when the inactive list comes out for week number 4, and he'll let you know who to start and who to sit and who's out there and who's going to have a big day today and who's going to stink up the joint. But, yeah, it's Eagles Sunday, and to echo what Dan from EHT said on the text message board, that it's really early for me to be this disappointed and frustrated with the team. And I am this disappointed and frustrated with the team. I just don't see a lot of things to be optimistic about, including the fact that as you break down, we are in October now. Today's October 3rd. Home with Kansas City, at Carolina, Thursday night game home with Tampa Bay, at Vegas, at Detroit. Pick me the win. Find the win in there in those next 5 games. And I would say maybe at Detroit on Halloween, maybe. So there's a realistic chance as I sit there and look at the talent level and where they're at, that the Eagles could be 1-6 going into Detroit. And that just depresses me. You know, I'm a little salty too because, you know, the Phillies stink up the joint and the Sixers have their drama going on, and the Eagles, obviously, it's not that they lost. It's how they lost. Again, 41-21. I picked 27-24. Producer boy over there, what was your pick last week?
On the Eagles?
Oh, here you go. Sorry. What was your pick?
Last week?
Yeah.
35-14, I think.
Okay. So, and you picked the Cowboys and you had them by 20. Yeah, more than one.
I didn't think the game would be close.
And you were right. So there you go. Okay. Good seeing you. You want to come on more?
If you would like to talk to me. If
Well,
not,
yeah,
no
I do.
problem sitting here with my mouth shut.
I do like to talk to you. Mike Gill on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
I just happened. I was in the neighborhood. I had to pick something up here, and that's why I'm here.
Yes.
I'm not like I don't care what you guys are doing, really. It's Sunday. You can talk about fishing.
That's so funny. We're not talking about fishing. We're talking about the Eagles. The Eagles are fishing for a win, is what they are. Now, Scott Grayson was on with us earlier and said, and Billy was hammering on the linebackers and the fact that the linebackers didn't come up. But why don't you answer the Sunday question since we'll take advantage of the 5 minutes you're here? What aspect of the Chiefs
I might be here a little
matchup?
Longer. My girlfriend's son getting his hair cut.
Heck yeah.
That's why I'm sitting here waiting for them to pick me back up.
Oh, I didn't realize you're carless. Okay.
Yeah, I have no car.
This is great.
We went to breakfast, and then she dropped me here and took him to get a haircut. And the haircut place didn't open until 11. So now they're, that's why I'm here.
Well, haircut can't take that long.
No,
15
that's what
minutes.
I'm saying. I might have like another 10, 15.
All right. Well, tell me what aspect you'll be keying in on then. I mean, you always watch the game in a critical way that I don't.
I thought that DeCecco on Friday brought up a great point in that the game against Dallas, the Cowboys went after Steve Nelson. So who's going to be matched up on Steve Nelson today? You could look at, like, in these games, it's always, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. Well, the Eagles are going to put a focus on those guys.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is Kansas City has more, Mecole Hardman is a guy that can beat you. So do the Eagles, Nelson, have an answer for Hardman? He's the guy that I would watch today to see how they get him involved, because you would hope that Darius Slay can, to kind of neutralize Tyreek Hill. The Eagles have done a good job on tight ends so far. They did a good job with Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job on Pitts. So
yeah, there's a pretty good tight end coming in today too.
That's what I'm saying. So how do they neutralize Kelsey? How do they neutralize Hill? And if they do do the Eagles have the depth to take away their third and fourth and fifth weapon? That's where Kansas City gets you, is they have good top-end weapons, but their middle-of-the-road weapons are as good as other teams' top-end weapons. And then keep this in mind, too, is the fact that Rodney McLeod's going to be back. Well, are they going to try to go right after him and see what kind of conditioning he is in? He hasn't played a game since last year with that ACL surgery.
Right.
So I think that's another interesting mix into this game. And other than, of course, no Brandon Graham. I thought that showed last week, and the Eagles linebackers are not – I don't know that it's the linebackers so much. It's that they're not great linebackers, but the defense is not conducive with two safeties that far back. I'm getting a call, so I might have to go.
Oh, that's all right. No, I'll let you I'll take you off for a minute. Mike Gill joining the show for a second or two there to offer his thoughts. And one thing I will say about this is that that's a good point he just raised about it may not be talent level of the linebackers. It may be scheme. Talent versus scheme is another question, which is why I asked Scott Grayson when we had him on in the first hour, how much of this do you attribute to the players, AKA lack of talent, and how much do you attribute to the fact that they're in the wrong position or they're playing the wrong scheme? I thought, and I used the word soft. I thought that the fact that they played that far off the receivers, there was never any jam, and they never diverted the routes or anything like that. So that bothered me, and so if your call's over, I'll ask you, Mike Gill.
They're coming to pick me up. Right
oh, good. Are you worried about scheme? I mean, is Jonathan Gannon in over his head,
or
is Nick Sirianni in over his head, or both?
I don't want to say that Sirianni. I'm not ready to say the Sirianni. You go back to 2016 in the middle of the season. Peterson looked like he had no business coaching this football team. They had bad losses. They had undisciplined losses, and he came back and won a Super Bowl. I will say, look, in baseball, basketball, I'm not a big it's the coach's fault guy. It's not the coach's fault in basketball. It's not the manager's fault in baseball. Yeah, they have decisions that they make, but football, the coach calls a play. Every single play is coming in from a coach. You don't call a play in baseball. You don't call a play every possession in basketball. So the coach does have an effect on a football game.
Okay.
Well, I would say a much bigger effect.
All right.
I thought Nick Sirianni in week 1 was outstanding.
Yeah.
In week 2 and week 3, I thought he was horrible.
And was that that brought up that they had the whole season to plan or the whole offseason to plan for week 1? And then, Scott Grayson twisted it that way. Said if you think about the Falcons game, you had a month to get ready for the Falcons game.
The thing.
Now you're in a week-to-week situation where you got to get ready.
I thought he overthought both games. Like, in other words, week 1, we did this. They saw this. Let's do something that they haven't seen us do yet. Week 2, we did this against Atlanta, and it worked.
Yeah.
San Francisco, the only tape they have on us is that game. Let's do something they haven't seen.
Right, and that's overthinking.
And they overthought it. And then last week, same situation. They got down, and I feel like he's like, well, we're down. They have a lot of explosive weapons. We got to try to, keep up with them. You're not going to keep up with Dallas. They have a lot of offensive weapons. You're not keeping up with them. I always say in basketball during those great Golden State years, you can't try to out-Warriors the Warriors.
Oh, there you go.
You can't build a team to mimic the Warriors. You have to do something that will try to be completely opposite of what they do really well so that it becomes whose style works. You can't do, somebody texted in the other day, you got to go to the Rays and follow what they do. You can't out-Rays the Rays.
That's true.
Right?
There's only
the Rays do it the best. If you're trying to emulate the Rays, you're going to be a cheaper knockoff version of the Rays. So the Eagles can't try to do what other teams do. They got to do what they do well. And he said it. Players play. Players, players, players. He got away from that. The first game, bubble screen, got the ball to guys in space, let them get open, let them catch, get up the field. Hasn't done that the last 2 weeks. And
the run-pass balance was pretty good in the first game, too. You got to have more than 3 runs.
In week 2,
yeah,
I think they ran the ball more than they threw it
against the Niners.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't think this is – look, keep in mind, though, this guy was hired by an owner who was mad that they won a game and ran the ball too much in the game they won.
That's right.
So keep that in mind when you're blaming the coach a lot of times. Like there are ulterior things that happen.
As you were saying, you can't outraise the Rays. All I kept hearing was that magical clip we always play, the gold standard. You know, that's almost an Eagles identity problem to begin with. The fact that the owner and to a degree the GM want to emulate what other people have done, create your own identity, create your own winning identity instead of trying to copy what the Patriots done or what the Chiefs have done or somebody like that. Oh, well, this was the best 10 minutes of the show, hands down. So thank you for,
some news just coming in. The
Chiefs
have ruled out Tre'Davious Ward and Frank Clark for the game today. So they're now down 2 starting corners and one of their best pass rushers to an already bad defense.
Does that mean then that Sirianni's going to get sucked into throwing the ball more because they're out those guys?
I will say this. They should be able to run the ball, which should then set up what?
The pass.
The play action.
Yeah.
And the RPO.
Because I've been starting to work my way through the Eli and Peyton stuff. They weren't falling for any of the,
this is where I thought Gannon had a tough day at the office. I thought Dak Prescott, and to me, that game on Monday night, Dak Prescott vaulted himself into another tier of quarterback. He might not be the elite guy like the Mannings and the Bradys that we remember from growing up.
Sure.
But in today's day and age,
he's pretty good.
He has vaulted himself into the elite of the current crop of quarterbacks. He looked at what they were doing and undressed Jonathan Gannon. He kicked
hands
him in
down.
His rear end, took his lunch, and then pulled the money out of his pocket and said, I'm going for seconds.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Hey,
Gannon had a tough day, dude.
Before you leave, then you also said off the air that I'd like you to say on the air the impact of that earlier tweet with the 2 offensive linemen and what effect do you think that'll have on the Eagles side of the ball?
Well, I have been saying all week, I imagine that they're going to move Dickerson to left guard, and then whoever the guy is that plays right guard will play there. Why? Well, because Brandon Brooks is due back. He'll take back right guard. Sayamala's out for the year. That means Dickerson, hey, get comfortable at left guard because that's where you're going to play this year. So I thought that was hands down. The interesting part is it's not Herbig, it's not Suopeta, it's Jack Driscoll, who just got activated from the 21-day window. So he barely has done much at all. Mm-hmm. Now, they cross-trained him in the offseason to play tackle and guard. They like him best out of that group. So you're going to get Dickerson at left guard, Driscoll at right guard, Dillard at left tackle. So now you're back in the same spot you were last year, where you have 3 reserves playing. The difference is Driscoll was a rookie last year who had never played in the NFL.
True.
He now has experience. Dickerson was a second-round pick. You like him. Dillard was a first-round pick. These 3 reserves are much more equipped to handle playing than the guys you had last year.
Right.
Now, the difference last year was, too.
Yeah.
One game, Matt Pryor's playing left tackle, then the next day he's playing right guard, then the next game he's playing left guard. They were moved. If you can keep these guys next to the guy they're playing for an extended period of time, that will help, and they have more talent than they had last year. I think Mailata should be back probably within the next week or 2 to go back to left tackle. Dickerson's going to play left guard all year, and then we'll see what happens when Brooks gets back.
He's Mike Gill, a special unexpected joining of the locker room here with Pete Thompson and Billy Schweim. Of course, Billy bailed on us once again. He's got Eagles tickets.
Wow, I hope he's paying you more, man.
Yeah, I'm getting a huge raise to do all this stuff.
Does he not know he does a show on Sundays?
You should
somebody offered me tickets to the Eagles game today. I had to say no.
Right, because you had responsibilities.
I do.
You got a job. You got a responsibility.
By the way, the show ends at 12.
You go out and you find that bleeping dog.
I leave at 11. It's weak sauce, man. Come on, man.
Poor Billy. We love him. All right. When we come back on the locker room here, we're going to find out about fantasy football a little bit. We'll go to Brian Hartley, our fantasy guru. He'll join us on the other side. Plus, the second hour, excuse me. See, I already screwed up, Gill. The second hour of the locker room brought to you by the Great Bay Country Club, where it's not just golf, it's fun. Make Great Bay Country Club your club. Great Bay is an award-winning private golf club where you're greeted by name. It's home of the 3-hour and 58-minute round. You can play on their 18-hole championship golf course, enjoy fine dining, or experience the lively atmosphere in the pub. There's a full calendar of golf and social events throughout the season to appeal to everyone. Join today. For more information, go to greatbay.com or call them at 609-927-5071. Great Bay Country Club in Summers Point, New Jersey, where it's always a great day at Great Bay. Of course, we also want to remind you about the Blitz's Market deal that's taking place today because it's an Eagles Sunday. The Locker Room and Blitz's Market want to discount your Eagles game day meal during the Eagles season on game day. Get an Italian hoagie for just $5 when you mention the Locker Room. Get down to Blitz's all season long. 21st and Asbury Avenue in Ocean City. Blitz's now has online ordering at blitzesmarkets.com or call them. 609-399-9983. Blitz's, home of the dill pickle hoagie, which, of course, is really a big deal. All right, on the other side, Brian Hartley, the fantasy guru, is going to join us. We'll find out about his calls and predictions for week number 4 as you roll along here on The Locker Room on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. And welcome back to the Locker Room here on 97.3 ESPN. Pete Thompson with you, Billy Schweim and Root as he is on his way up to the Eagles-Chiefs game. It's time now to bring in Brian Hartley, our fantasy football guru, who's brought to you by Stell Exteriors. They've been providing professional roofing and siding at affordable prices since 1996. Did you know that only 2% of roofing contractors qualify as a GAF Master Elite installer? So if you do the math, choosing Stell Exteriors takes 98% of that worry out. Stell Exteriors, 636 West Avenue, Ocean City. Give them a call, 609-399-1010. That's 609-399-1010. And as I turn down Sting and the Police, hopefully Brian Hartley and his fantasy thoughts are with us here on the Barb's Harley-Davidson Hotline. Brian, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Pete.
Yeah, I
Good.
love
How
it.
you doing?
Yeah, that nice confirmation that, yes, I'm here and ready to talk fantasy football. I don't know, Brian. In one league, I'm killing it. I'm 3-0 in the 97-3 league, even though last week I had a brain fart and I left out one of the Cincinnati players and didn't notice till 103. I pulled a Billy is what I basically did. And then, but I'm 3-0 in that league. And then in my other league, which is kind of my high money, high scoring league, I absolutely, totally put up great points and lost. I mean, I had like 162 points or something. I played the one team in the league that had more points than me. It's almost unfair, but that's fair. I scored 162. The guy that kicked my butt, 175. I mean, come on.
Well, we're in the same boat because the same exact thing happened to me last week in my big money league where we had the second most points. We were humming along and we just couldn't get it done. We ended up with the Monday night game. Believe it or not, I needed Miles Sanders just to have, 3 more points, anything, a catch, a run, something.
Man.
And it was, so you compound the Eagles' frustration with fantasy football, and it really had my blood boiling going after that game because that, and Sterling Shepard went down early in the game, another catch for 10 yards here, and I win, and it just, a frustrating week when you score that and you go against the only team that can beat you. But that's the way it is, and sometimes that's the way it happens. It's just bad luck.
Yeah, that stupid Lyndon Ellerby line she used to sign off the news with, and that's maybe it was Walter Cronkite, and that's the news, or that's the way it is. Here we are now. Then what do we have? Week 4 coming up, right? And we got a chance to see some guys are out, some guys are in. What are some of the players you'll be looking at today? What are some of the must starts for Week 4 for you?
Yeah, so Week 4, I like Matthew Stafford today. He's having an unbelievable season. I know we're only a quarter of the way into the season after today. I guess not really now with that extra week, but he is playing phenomenal going against Arizona. That game should have some points there. I like Derek Carr, another guy who's playing phenomenal going against the LA Chargers. And believe it or not, I like Taylor Heineke today. In some of these leagues where you got 12-man leagues where you got to start 2 quarterbacks going against Atlanta, that's a nice matchup for him. Atlanta has been just giving it up. And then at running back on the ground today, filling in for the injured Christian McCaffrey is Chuba Hubbard going against Dallas. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, is going to light it up against our Eagles. And Nyheim Hines going against Miami. I think they're going to be throwing the ball out of the backfield, which sets up well for him. Jonathan Taylor probably get most of the carries, but I look for Hines to steal some of those. He's got that breakaway speed and always gets a lot of balls out of the backfield.
You see,
at wide receiver.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Wide receiver. Keep running. You're doing great.
Deebo Samuel going against Seattle. Jacoby Myers, I think, going against Tampa today. Their secondary's been getting torched, and they're going to have to throw the ball to keep up with Tampa tonight. And then I like Antonio Brown coming home, even though he wasn't there that long, going against New England in that game. It's going to be a fun game to watch with Brady coming home, probably breaking the record, barring some crazy thing. So those are my picks for Week 4 of the NFL season.
Sorry, I jumped in just a little earlier because I was looking through some names here, and I see things like Le'Veon Bell expected to suit up for the Ravens. That's a headline. Is that somebody that you take a flyer on?
Nah, not today. I think you're going to have to see how that plays out. They've got Latavius Murray there as well, who seems to be playing really well, getting a lot of the carries. So I think, if anything, Le'Veon Bell might be somebody you stash on your lineup. Could be a couple more weeks before he really finds his way back in. But he's 29 years old now and really hasn't been able to do much since he left Pittsburgh. Had a stint in New York with the Jets. And then obviously we all know what happened last year playing for Kansas City and his little fallout there with Andy Reid. But I think Le'Veon Bell's best days are behind him, and I don't see him really being that big workhorse anymore.
And since I'm on the running back position, I also see that the 49ers are going to give Trey Sermon another start. Is that a name that gives you a little arched eyebrow?
Yeah, Trey Sermon was drafted really high this year. They had high hopes for him. Obviously, all the injuries that they have there. It's been one man after the next going down. The matchup is interesting today. Seattle, normally stout defense, kind of been giving up on the ground, and they've been very well balanced, San Francisco playing this year. So the potential is there for a big game. But again, with these rookie guys, and, he hasn't shown much and then was nicked up. So again, it might be one of those things, not necessarily playing this week unless you're in a deep league and you really don't have too many choices. But he could be somebody that the next couple of weeks could start to really be that guy that emerges there in San Francisco as the lead running back.
I'll give a little plug. That game, you can hear that game right here on 97.3 ESPN following our Eagles coverage. Of course, we have Chiefs-Eagles. The pregame shows at noon. The actual Mike and Merrill is at 1. And then following that game coverage, we will kick over to Seattle and San Francisco. And then the night game, of course, the one everybody's looking at, and that's going to be Tom Brady going back to New England. But, of course, he won't have one of his weapons there in Gronk. So if you're a Gronk owner, Brian Hartley, and, you just, set it and forget it, right? But now you have to find some tight end to help. Who do you try to go find out there on the tight end waiver wire?
Yeah, so if you're in a league that requires, a tight end being in your lineup, a lot of those top guys are already taken. So I look at a guy like a Dawson Knox from Buffalo. He's been scoring. He's been getting some targets. They've obviously been throwing the ball. He's not on a lot of rosters. You also have a guy like Evan Ingram, who was injured early in the season, so a lot of guys didn't take him, and he's still available in some of the waiver wires. So he's another guy, and a Cole Kmet, for Chicago is another guy. Going to see what happens with that quarterback situation. Obviously didn't play out well last week, but they're going to have to do a little better if they're going to compete. So those are a couple guys that are out there that might be available for this week.
Anybody burning up the transactions that you saw getting picked up the most? Like that always is fun to me too. Like when you get past the Monday night game, everything's finally in the books to see like the race for that one guy or that one defense or that one, everybody runs for. The year, what was it, last year or 2 years ago that Tunyon came on the scene for Green Bay and had like a big game, and then everybody was trying to pick him up.
Yeah, well, I think this week that pickup was Chuba Hubbard. Last week, guys couldn't really pick him up because they played that Thursday night game when the injury happened. So after that Thursday game, everything was locked. So he didn't become available until this week. So he was really the number one guy that people targeted for a 1 or 2 week stint to try to plug a hole from maybe another injury that you had. McCaffrey not expected to be out that long. They didn't put him on IR, which would have made a 3-game mandatory miss. This is week 2, so we'll see if he misses this week and possibly next week, but it sounds like he's on track to be back for week 6. So it could be a short-term solution, but he was the guy. Another guy is Zach Moss from Buffalo, the running back. A lot of guys in some of the not-so-deep leagues didn't have him, but he started to emerge, catching the ball out of the backfield and starting to kind of evenly split there with Devin Singletary in Buffalo. So a lot of guys picked him up this week as well.
I feel like the other week I didn't ask you your prediction for the game. So since you're a regular guest here on the Locker Room on Sundays, what do you think is going to happen up in South Philly today?
Not good. I can tell you this. I was sitting at the coffee shop this morning, and there was a guy on the phone trying to get rid of his tickets desperately today, which is not good news. Going to see Mahomes and that whole show, those guys are phenomenal. It's a beautiful day out today, but unfortunately I'm taking Kansas City 41-17.
Woo, 41-17. I have 17 for the Eagles as well, but my KC score is slightly different. So far, Scott Grayson has said KC 30-24. Gill, who dropped in for 5 minutes. Thanks, Mike Gill, for coming in. We appreciate that. He said 38-10 KC, and we're going to get Billy's prediction from the AC Expressway. I told all the New Jersey State Patrols I was sending out texts hot and heavy to look out for that car if it was going too fast.
I doubt it's going fast. He drives a little more like grandma and grandpa. So you want to look for the one that's going a little slower in the right-hand lane.
Brian Hartley, our fantasy guru, is brought to you by Stell Exteriors. They've been providing professional roofing and siding at affordable prices since 1996. Did you know that only 2% of roofing contractors qualify as a GAF Master Elite installer? So if you do the math, choosing Stell Exteriors takes 98% of the worry out. That's Stell Exteriors, 636 West Avenue, Ocean City. Give them a call, 609-399-1010. That's 609-399-1010. Thank you, Guru. Have a great Sunday, and I guess I'll say it. Go Birds.
Thanks, Pete. Always a pleasure.
Take care, man. Brian Hartley with us here on the Locker Room on the Barb's Harley-Davidson hotline on 97.3 ESPN. Good stuff out of him. Yeah, I forgot about Chuba Hubbard. That was a that definitely was a guy that people were jumping on to try and pick up. It's always interesting to me from a fantasy standpoint to see who's the name, who's the one. And of course, if you're 3-0, like I am in the 97.3 league, I don't care who's getting picked up. My roster's pretty damn good. Flip side, my other league, my big money league, I'm 0-3. My roster is not that good. And I have to tell you, I have not been diligent enough to search that waiver wire. So that's probably also the reason. I mean, I drafted poorly and I'm not following the leads enough. So thanks to Brian Hartley for being able to come on and tell us who's out there and who you can get. I guess the inactives just came out too. So on the other side, when we come back, I'll check what the inactives are. We're going to get Billy's prediction at some point here as well. And we are also going to talk a little bit more about this big Eagles game, Eagles Chiefs. You can hear it right here on 97.3 ESPN. A reminder that the second hour of the locker room is brought to you by the Great Bay Country Club, where it's not just golf, it's fun. Make Great Bay Country Club your club. Great Bay is an award-winning private golf club where you're greeted by name, the home of the 3-hour and 58-minute round. You can play on their 18-hole championship golf course, enjoy fine dining, or experience the lively atmosphere in the pub. There's a full calendar of golf and social events throughout the season that appeal to everyone. Join today. For more information, go to greatbay.com or call them at 609-927-5071. Great Bay Country Club in Summers Point, where it's always a great day at Great Bay. Like I said, on the other side here, we're going to keep talking a little Eagles football. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Chiefs. So we'll take a look at who the inactives are on both sides. We kind of gave a little hint of that earlier, but we'll continue with what's going on, the very latest on the Eagles and Chiefs and NFL week number 4. You're listening to The Locker Room. I'm Pete Thompson. Billy Schweim is en route to the game. It's The Locker Room on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. And welcome back to the locker room here on 97.3 ESPN. Pete Thompson flying solo for the second hour of the locker room. Billy Schweim en route to the game. We'll connect with him in a minute. Off the air, I'll reveal that he's already yelling at me because I didn't read two sponsors. And I got to tell you, my sponsors said 10:11 and 10:25. Now, if I look at a clock, it is not in the 10 o'clock hour at all. I can show him proof that these don't actually have it on my sheets, but hey, I'll just read them and then we'll move on. Have you heard of New Jersey's premier vacant home management service, My Winter Watchdog? You know those worrisome thoughts that creep in your mind every time you hear of a storm coming and the daunting task of having to drive down to the shore to check on your house and the hours of your time on the road? Let My Winter Watchdog be your eyes and ears with their 15-point inspection checklist. They offer a full menu of maintenance and improvement services. Owner Debbie McGonigal and her team of property caretakers are professional, licensed, bonded, and insured. So don't let winter worry you. They'll give your house that lived-in look. That's My Winter Watchdog. Go to mywinterwatchdog.com or call them at 267-202-1869. And friends, let me tell you about Maserati, the main line. Located just minutes from downtown Philadelphia, they offer a client-focused car buying experience designed to exceed expectations, and they invite you to stop in and see the area's largest selection of new Maseratis, including the sporty Ghibli midsize sedan and the Class League Levante, the only SUV worthy of being called a Maserati. Maserati, the main line, also leads the nation in certified pre-owned sales and has the highest quality like new Maseratis available on the market. Your experience does not end at the point of sale, as Maserati, the main line, offers free pickup and delivery for scheduled service appointments and complimentary new Maserati loaner cars. So be audacious. Leave Pete Thompson alone and go to the game. No, call Maserati, the main line today, 484-804-4800. That's 484-804-4800, or visit them online anytime at motml.com. And now let's go out to the Barb's Harley Davidson hotline and see if the chief complainer, cook, and bottle washer of the damn show is on the line. I hear breathing, so I know you're there.
Pete, you want to get that extra raise? You got to read the clients. You know, they pay the bills.
Haven't you ever seen the movie Anchorman? If you put it in the prompter, I will read it. You did not tell me to read those in this hour. Now, of course, I've now written on the bottom of it, so you're going to go, well, there it is right there. You're not even going to give me any credit for the fact that you forgot.
You're doing an outstanding job, and I want to give a little traffic update.
Are you Billy Schweim with the Arco Go Patrol?
Arco Go Patrol. We're at mile marker 40, and we're at the Berlin Cross Keys exit, which is exit 41, and I am in bumper-to-bumper traffic.
As you should be. So even though Hartley couldn't find somebody at the coffee shop, or the guy at the coffee shop where Hartley was couldn't find anybody to take his tickets, apparently everybody else is going.
There are people that are obviously heading up to the game, because I am literally stopped right here at mile marker 40.
Do you have your companion?
No, I haven't picked him up yet. I won't get him until the Collingswood exit right off the road there to pick him up. So this time, when I went to the game, the first game, I didn't hit traffic until the 42 freeway. So this is kind of upsetting me right now.
Now, this is going to be a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you ever used the Waze app?
Yes, I have. No, I have done that. I also have I have my Google. I know the area like the back of my hand, Pete. So we'll get there. Listen, just want to give my quick prediction before you run out of time. I think it's a beautiful day out. I think the Eagles, if the coaching staff can learn from their mistakes and make the adjustments, which Scott Grayson illustrated that, they had a whole year to prepare for the Atlanta Falcons. This week, now they're going week to week, and you don't have that much time. So let's see if the coaching staff can put these guys in a better position. I do think the linebacker play was atrocious. It was horrible, and maybe that's why the secondary backed off, because there's no rush. They can't cover the backs out of the backfield, nor you got Kelsey, the tight end Kelsey, Jason's brother. That's going to be something to watch. So I look at a linebacker play, but guess what? I've got the Chiefs winning 27-20.
Would this change your score if I told you that when the inactives came out, that Lane Johnson is surprisingly out for this game?
Wow. Are you serious?
So here's the 5 Eagles players that are inactive. Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Gardner Minshew, Mac McClain, and Marion Tupelo, whatever. It says that the Eagles are saying that he's out due to a personal matter. So the Eagles are going to start Andre Dillard at left tackle. And, now because Frank Clark is out, Dillard's going to kind of catch a little bit of a break for the second week in a row. But Lane Johnson out is the headline on that. Personal matter. Now, on the Chiefs side of the ball, you've got the corner Rashad Fenton, the corner Travarius Ward, the defensive end Frank Clark, Austin Bly, Laurent Duvernay, Tardif, the offensive guard, and Doris Fountain are the Chiefs inactive. So,
wow.
But yeah, Lane Johnson, there's a little headline for you. That just came down.
News. I don't like to hear that. It's a personal matter. Yeah, we got a personal matter. We're playing the Chiefs today. We're 1-2, and that's what we should be focused on.
Just like Scott Grayson told us in the first hour, 2-2 sounds a lot better than 1-3, doesn't it, buddy?
Absolutely. All right, PT, you're doing an outstanding job. Let me get back to my driving as we're in stop-and-go traffic. But I'm making my way to the Chiefs-Eagles game, and I look forward to being with you next Sunday for the entire show.
Well, just so you know, I'm going to read Jersey Man, Philly Man now and I'm going to read the Blitz's market thing again. So hopefully that's, in compliance with what you're requesting there. All right.
All right, Pete. Thanks a lot, buddy. And let's go Birds.
Go Birds. See you, Schweiner. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
All right, Billy Schweim with us on the Barb's Harley Davidson hotline. I remember to say that. It is the Locker Room here on 97.3 ESPN. We do have to take a break, but I will say that just about everybody in our area has heard of the Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine. It's run by ex-Philadelphia Eagle tight end Ken Dunnick. But are you aware of their private business network they call the Legacy Club? Every month, they hold private events at upscale locations in Philly and South Jersey that attract 200-plus top business people. If you have an interest in attending one of the events, and see if Jersey Man, Philly Man is a fit for your business, send an email to Ken at jerseymanmagazine.com or call 856-912-4007 for more information. Plus, if you're hungry and you're in the Ocean City area, the Locker Room and Blitz's Market are going to discount your Eagles game day snack or meal. During the Eagles season, you get an Italian hoagie for just $5, but you got to mention the Locker Room. Get down to Blitz's all season long, 21st and Asbury in Ocean City. Blitz's has online ordering at blitzesmarkets.com or call them at 609-399-9983. It's Blitz's, home of the dill pickle hoagie. And of course, that's really a big dill. Boom. All right, when we return, Locker Room rolls on. I'll give you my score prediction. We'll do a quick wrap around. Then if there's any more breaking Eagles news in the break, we'll certainly let you know. It's the Locker Room with Pete Thompson and Billy Schweim en route to the game on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. And welcome back to the locker room here on 97.3 ESPN. Pete Thompson, Billy Schweim. Billy's en route to the game, so I've got the second hour of the show here. Second hour brought to you by Great Bay Country Club, where it's not just golf, it's fun. Make Great Bay Country Club your club. I just picked up my phone for the first time in about 20 minutes because, you know, I'm kind of doing a radio show here. And I had like 8 text messages from Billy. Take your break. Take your break. Do it now. Do it. Break. Go. Take your break. Come on, man. You left. If you want to run things, you get your butt back here next week. Oh my gosh, too funny. Yeah, Eagles, Chiefs, the pregame show, the official pregame show is on the other side here at the top of the hour, and then Mike and Merrill at 1 o'clock. Plus later on, Seahawks 49ers. That's going to be probably joined in progress. And then 8 o'clock tonight on 97.3 ESPN, we'll have Bucks Patriots for you as well. So week 4 in the NFL, and we just found out the news in the last segment there that Lane Johnson is surprisingly out. I mean, he wasn't at any injury report or anything like that. It's really a surprise to, I think, everybody that he's not going to play in the game today. The Eagles are calling it a personal matter. Now, of course, Jordan Mailata was ruled out on the final injury report that came out on Friday. So Andre Dillard is going to start at left tackle. And but the Lane Johnson thing, that's definitely coming out of nowhere. Eagles, Chiefs today. Another thing, just a couple random PT thoughts as we get toward the top of the hour and have to wrap things up. But here's Eagles, Chiefs. Andy Reid coming back to Philadelphia. And it's not Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. So I hope you like Ian Eagle. Charles Davis, I really like. I think Charles Davis used to be on Fox and went over to CBS. So it's Ian Eagle, Charles Davis, and Evan Washburn will be your team. I don't know about you guys, but last week for the Monday night game, I did not watch. I DVR'd the Peyton and Eli thing, and then I got so tired. No disrespect to Steve Levy and those guys, but it just it was not doing it for me, and they were losing. So I actually matched up Mike and Merrill on 97.3 with an old Radio Shack radio, and I had that playing, and it was slightly ahead, but I mean it was close enough that it wasn't so brutal, nor was it so far behind too. So anybody that's out there and wants to try that, especially in this day and age where you can like hit rewind and not be live on your TV, maybe mess with that a little bit and get 97.3 ESPN as your audio. So you get Mike and Merrill and all the analysis that they bring to the table, and then have the pictures there. That to me would be a good way to watch the game. In fact, I think I just talked myself into it. That's something I'm going to do. Philadelphia's 4-4 in their all-time series with Kansas City. They've won 3 of the last 5 games going back to 2001. Of course, this is a Kansas City Chiefs team, I think, that comes in a little bit angry, though, and that's a concern to me. And we'll see what kind of effort comes out today. Miles Sanders is 3rd among NFL running backs in rushing average. We talked about that earlier. 4.94 since 2019 by Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry. Maybe we should just blow that quote up and put it on Nick Sirianni's office door. Coach, knock, knock, knock. Here's a little reminder for you. You might want to run the football. Run the ball. My goodness gracious. Other keys and notes from today's game. So far, and it's only been a few games, but the Chiefs rank 6th in total offense. They're number 1 in the NFL in 3rd down offense, and they are 5th in pass and points per game. Meanwhile, the Eagles, well, that's interesting. They're not really in single digits in any of the regular season rankings except for rush offense. So here's an idea. Run the ball. I feel like I'm saying that over and over again. On the defensive side of things, not a lot. Wow, Chiefs are really bad. They're 30th in total defense, 31st in rush defense. They're tied for 31st in points per game given up. I mean, this is a team you ought to be able to put some points on the board against. Despite what happened in Dallas, the Eagles are still the 7th ranked total defense in the league and tied for 5th in pass defense. And again, that was something that we discussed in the show, that Rodney McLeod is going to be back today. So what impact, if any, will that have on the Eagles defense today? Is he able to come up and provide them with, a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a spark. Of course, today's the brothers game. Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce on both sides. This has happened before. Jason Kelce started 108 consecutive regular season games. That's the longest active streak among NFL centers and the longest by any NFL center since Chris Myers did it 2007 to 14. Maybe it'll come down to a Jake Elliott field goal. He's tied with Sam Baker for the third most field goals in Eagles history. He trails only David Akers and Paul McFadden. He's also 3 points shy of tying Brian Westbrook for 7th place on the all-time scoring list. I mentioned Rodney McLeod a minute ago. Rodney McLeod's one of only 2 NFL safeties with 10-plus interceptions and 10-plus forced fumbles since 2013. So he is an impact player. Now, what kind of Rodney McLeod are we actually going to see today? But he has 14 interceptions and 11 forced fumbles. He joins the only other guy that's in that category. It says 1 of 2 NFL safeties. Well, the other guy used to play at Philadelphia. That's Malcolm Jenkins. He has 17 interceptions and 15 forced fumbles. So, a couple quick hits. Philadelphia's won 7 of their last 9 games against AFC West opponents at the Link, dating back to 2001. Don't forget about Quez Watkins. He seemed to have some heart and effort even in the Cowboys game. Leads the league with a 26.6 yards per reception. That's totaling a career high 186 yards. So he has a nice stat there. 186 yards and 7 catches. And Dallas Goddard leading all NFL tight ends with 16.5 yard receiving average. He's got 8 receptions for 132 yards and 1 touchdown. Dallas Goddard also first with an 87.5 receiving first down percentage. So 7 first downs. You heard Scott Grayson in the first hour talk about the fact that the Eagles did not win first down on either side of the ball. When they were on defense, they didn't win that. And when they were on offense, they certainly didn't win that as well. But it's been my pleasure to be with you in this second hour. Again, second hour brought to you by Great Bay Country Club. And please, if you're hungry, get out there to Blitz's Market, mention the locker room, and get that $5 Blitz's hoagie because you mentioned the locker room. Billy has said 27-20 Kansas City. Brian Hartley is Kansas City winning big 41-17. Scott Grayson, Kansas City 30, Eagles 24. Mike Gill made a quick appearance, 38-10. He said on Friday's show, Kansas City. And I also think the Chiefs are going to win. My prediction, 34-17. Thanks to all of you joining on the live stream and listening on the radio. You've been listening to The Locker Room, and I am Pete Thompson. Billy will be back next Saturday. I'll be back with him again on Sunday. Remember, it's Chiefs, the official Eagles pregame show next, Chief Eagles after that, Seattle, San Francisco, and then Bucks Patriots tonight. Have a great Sunday, everybody.